Hello everybody, Simple here, and today I'm going to be telling you guys how to work on Telepone. Now Telepone is basically a extended application for online play for any Fighting is Magic build. Unfortunately, this thing is a bit bad, to say the least, but I'm still going to show you guys how to actually work this because this is part of the Aurora launcher. If you just basically go to the Aurora launcher and you go to basically the world icon, the globe icon, you basically will be able to be accessed to Telepone. It will basically automatically be downloaded, and then you can have some access to that. Now I'm here to show you guys how it basically works. So what you have here is basically a server, host, and client stuff, and then your destination IP. Since you're on the Aurora launcher, the destination IP will automatically go to the developer's server, basically. But if you have your own server or is there a different server you like to go to, you can just go here and type in the server name, basically, for NetPlay. Unfortunately, lots of the Telepone stuff has been deleted because Telepone is basically a very bad type of application to use for online, and the reason why the Aurora launcher has Telepone is beyond me. I don't have anything to say about it, but it is there and it is an option for people who actually want to play online who don't have access to other stuff like Parsec, basically. I do have allergies, so I do apologize if I sound different. Here's your user profile. Just make sure your region is correct, otherwise your ping will go bananas. And then the welcome message is a bit useless. You can type in what you're looking for in a match, what you're trying to avoid, what type of matches you're trying to avoid, and then a comment. And then you have the IP change. Telepone will always give you a fake IP, but you can type in your original IP if you want your stuff to be stronger, like better pings, basically, so you have exact locations for Telepone. Telepone itself does not record IPs, but this is just a thing for it to use so it can actually connect to, you know, other places. But the thing is, every time you close Telepone, IP will also be deleted and erased from its data files, so you don't need to worry about it basically saving anything. But if you want more protection, I do recommend get a Brahmin, which is a third-party application for IP. So yeah, you can also encrypt your original IP, but this functionality basically is dead. So that's kind of why nobody actually wants to use this anymore. But just to be safe and to be sure, make sure you're playing with actual trustworthy friends, honestly. So just be careful about this. But I guess that's the reason why nobody actually wants to play on this. Because for one thing, this is still a bit outdated as it's still on the same type of version for a long time. I'm going to press OK, and we'll continue on with this. OK. And this is what it looks like. When you finish that, this is what it looks like. You will have some other stuff here. Right here is just basically a preset. There is no presets available for me, so I will not be able to do that. The max ping is the ping limit on what type of people you are accepting. Basically, whoever's above the ping limit basically are not going to be able to fight you, basically. This button is to random challenge people who have the lowest ping. People who have the lowest ping will get priority on this if you don't want to just go down here and search for somebody. Mark favorite replays. You can record replays of matches if you want to. You can go and lab out your skills. And just put Telepone to sleep. And this one is to reconnect everything from your side. Now over here is where you're supposed to see other people. I am the guest right here. This is the server. As you can see, the IP for the server is here, but of course this is an encrypted server I mean a encrypted IP, so this is a false IP basically, but it is there just for Telepone to actually read. The reason why you don't see anybody here is kind of obvious. Telepone is, first off, not that well known. Second, Telepone is an outdated online functionality. It is basically a outdated online functionality because pings will mostly always going to be over 100, and if you're that lucky person who has the lower ping, which I did have some when I was testing this earlier, the unfortunate side effect is that even with the pings, lag is basically still present, and some people, and some of my matches too with my personal buddies, we basically got like decent runtime with the game, but further into the game it started to lag, even though our ping was actually in a good position that it would not, like below 100. So yeah, ping is just really iffy on this, but even without the ping problem, this still has a very huge problem when it comes to actually online functionality and how to play online. Also, I forgot, this big old thing is basically your text log. You can also type stuff into it if you want to. There, I said hi. And yeah, that's about it. There is one more thing I have to tell you, and it is the most important thing if you actually want to play any build for Telepone. If you don't have this screen pop up after you did your setups, then you have to go to the options selection here on back. Yeah, you have to go select the options menu right here, and then you come back over here. Just click on the very first option, and then you will be set here. Now, you have to check a file path because otherwise Telepone cannot actually boot you into a game with another person, and you have to make sure that the person you boot up with, the person you are playing with, has the same build. For example, I have Fighting as Magic Aurora. If you click the three dots, it'll send you to your personal files in your Windows C file, basically in program files. If you download any other build in the Aurora launcher, like Creepy Dimension or LunaFest, you can always find them in the files file from the Fighting Magic Aurora file in your personal computer file. I know there's a lot of files, but I think it's pretty simple. You'll see it once you get in. But if there's a different build that you have outside from Magic Aurora that you downloaded like manually without needing the launcher, then you can choose that one, choose that application, and then so on and so forth. I'm going to cancel the selection because I already have one here. Performance, don't change most of these because they're not exactly that useful. I mean, this one I thought it was useful, but apparently it's minimal in terms of impact on volume basically. So make sure it's, you know, a bit down there, like low, because the game's pretty loud, like real loud. You can select how much time you want to fight in, how many maximum stages that you want to fight in, and then 3 rounds basically. That's like the normal part. You can check your FPS if you want to, but FPS for this one, even though it runs 60 for me most of the time, when fighting other people, majority of the time it's lower than 30 frames per second, or at least at 30 frames per second. But the game still functions and plays pretty fine. It's just that it's not the FPS problem. It is literally just the lag and the input delay and the basically everything. Even the hitboxes have some jankness to them online. But that's how I felt and how I see some stuff basically. But your experience may differ from mine, so hopefully you have a better experience from this. Performances and sounds. You don't need to really do anything. There's barely any sounds that come through Telepone, but if there is, I don't know, it could be. But yeah, just don't change this. Don't change this too much. And yeah, and you're all set. Also, maximum connections is just how many games it can actually like get in, or how many people can actually get in. Just keep it at 1, basically. Okay? Okay. And that's about it. Don't know why that 1 second popped up. Okay, so yeah, that's kind of about it. Do I recommend people using this? No. I recommend you guys using Parsec, but that is if you guys have Parsec and would rather, and if you have close friends playing it. If you are playing on Telepone, I just remind you, make sure you're playing with a trustworthy person, because otherwise that IP is just kind of there. And that's the reason why I don't think anybody plays this, is because the IP stuff. But that's not really the main reason. The main reason why is because the issues that Telepone always has, it has been fixed just a tiny bit from the claims that other people said about Telepone. It is not as bad, but it is still pretty bad. I can see why people don't actually want to play this. There's a few janks. Even with the most balanced build, which is Aurora, it's not exactly that great. Other builds, I did try this with LunaFest. It's almost exactly the same, just a bit more janky, and Chrysalis does have a few more problems, which she can just break the game much more easier. And I don't mean break the game as she's OP, I mean break the game as in she kind of just disappears out of nowhere, and then you're just lock stun. And it's more frequent on online instead of being on person. So do what you will, and just be careful on actually using Telepone. There's no gameplay I will show you guys because I didn't record it. I just kind of tested it basically, but that's my experience on Telepone. I don't know if I'm actually gonna do online for the next video because of this, and of course there's a new problem. My computer does actually overheat time to time right now, so it is actually going to be pretty hard for me to actually keep consistency on connection online, because that is going to run my computer like a hot mess. Either way, that's it for the video. I'm Sunpo, and just be safe when you're playing with Telepone. Just be careful, and of course you could download this as a separate thing, but it is already automatically at the Aurora launcher. You can check it out on the developer's website. And of course, you do not need to play Aurora just to play this. You just need Telepone itself, and you can just choose any build you want. There's a lot of builds to choose from. Go right for it. That's about it. And until then, I'll catch you guys later for the next episode or next video. And that next video, possibly it is not going to be an online video.